Suraya and Hemali Ajmera are members of the Story Mint. They are joint winners of a short story writing contest organised by First Forays Literary Agency, India, and Bookaholics Book Club, India. Their winning story, The Trader, can be found on the Story Mint website. Their prize was a publishing contract, and they are continuing to turn their short story into a novel in order to take advantage of the opportunity. The Trader is collaboratively written. It is set on the Silk Road in the 15th century. Aziz is a Persian trader, and Yasari lives in a village in the Hindu Kush Mountains. The tale is mystical, refined, and rife, and with the ache of first love, commented a judge. Hemali and Suraya will talk about their experience and the benefits of working on a writing project with someone on the other side of the world. Welcome, Suraya and Hemali.
Thank you, Louise. It's
Thank you,
our
Louise.
pleasure to be doing this. We feel very privileged, actually, that we are in this situation, and we would like to share some of the insights that we gained as we worked together on this project. We were lucky that the deadline was extended, so we had a bit more time to put some more fine tuning onto the story, and we were able to submit something that we felt was pretty polished. So I'm going to talk to Hemali, and then Hemali is going to question me. So we're sharing and we're doing an interview together. So Hemali, we have known each other for 5 years or so, even more, and we've done different pieces of writing together and shared them and given each other feedback. But I'm wondering what the experience was like for you writing a story with someone, me, namely me, on the other side of the world.
Suraya, it was an incredible experience. For me, it was a breath of fresh air, because the time we started writing together, I haven't written a story with anybody together before. So it was a completely new experience, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, because what I found is that, as a writer, every person thinks that they're doing a great job, that they are very good at what they're doing. But it's only when the other person, who is also an accomplished writer, they are able to pick up your weaknesses much better than you can. So that learning experience was incredible. Whether the story won a prize or whether it was appreciated is another part of the story. But what I really learned is during the process were my weaknesses and where I needed to concentrate and improve upon. So the highs was that this is what my high was, and the low was that because we come from such different backgrounds and our cultural sensibilities are so different, it was a little tough working things out, because we both had different visions of how the story should develop and where it should be going. So at times I just felt, and I'm sure you felt that way, that we were hitting a wall and I was not getting through you and you were not getting through me. But I think when you have a good communication and good understanding between the two authors, all these issues can be resolved.
I think that I learned, Hemali, that the thing you have to leave at the door when you go into a project like this is your ego. You can't have an ego and take that into a collaboration like this. You have to just let everything kind of roll and be prepared to be flexible and listen to each other, and that then allows the story to unfold and the characters to develop. It was an amazing experience for me from that perspective. So what are the benefits from your perspective of sharing writing a story as we did?
Like I just mentioned, the benefit was that I got to know where I was going wrong. And because you are also a writer, and you could critically review the story, which wouldn't have happened with somebody else, because you could pick out what was going wrong where, which I think if I had asked somebody else who was just a ordinary reader, they wouldn't have been able to pick out. So that was the biggest benefit for me, was working with you. And I learned so much from you, because especially your way of thinking. I am not a creative writer. I basically started out as a content writer, writing technical and factual books. And, articles in magazines related to my profession. So I have absolutely no exposure to creative writing, but you pushed me to think creatively, to think, to use metaphors, to use things like that. I'll just like to give an example where, we were talking about Yasira's state of mind. And you told me you compare her state of mind with the sunset, as the sun sets and how the darkness spreads, that's the state of her mind. And I would have never thought that I can think about somebody's mental state in such a way. So thanks to you, I learned how to think metamorphically and how to express, how to relate situations, real life situations with these kind of things in nature. So that's what my takeaway from the whole experience about developing this creative side of writing.
I mean, I also benefited, so I don't want to think that I did. You alone got something out of this. I got a lot out of it. I found by having you as part of the collaboration, you took me to another world and you introduced me to another place, and we created this place in the 15th century, and we put these people there. And they came alive because we were sharing our own cultures and our own worlds with each other as we wrote. That to me was one of the great things that came out of it for me. So what would you say to somebody who was thinking of writing a collaborative story?
I think there are three important things, Suraya, which I learned from this experience, is that whenever you want to collaborate with somebody, there are three things that you need to have: honesty, open communication, and open-mindedness. You have to be really transparent and honest with each other. I'm sure the audience will find it very funny that we never talked to each other face to face during this whole process of writing the story. We always communicated via email, and yet we were able to get through each other because we were very honest. We were very honest about our opinions regarding where the story should be going. And just for the information of all the audience, the way we had structured the whole thing was that Suraya will write one chapter, I would write the next, and then she would write the next, and that's how we carried the story forward. And we were very honest in giving each other feedback. We praised where praise was needed. We pointed out the mistakes where that was needed. So I think honesty was very important. We were very communicative. We told each other what we felt. If something didn't work or something didn't gel, we were very transparent and said, okay, I don't think I agree with this. And the third thing is open-mindedness. When you told me, things that, no, this is just not going to work, or this is not the way I want you to think, or I don't want this character to develop like this. I had to convince myself to be open-minded enough to receive that kind of feedback from you. For example, Yasira, when we decided that in these cultures, because I come from the Indian culture, I know how things work in these kind of cultures, that whenever a girl is young enough, and especially if she's jilted by a lover, and she's now old enough to get married, her permission is not taken. Her parents will marry her off to somebody just to finish their responsibility. And that's what I thought I will do with Yasira. We'll just we'll make her father marry her off and start the story from somewhere else. But you told me, no, this is not the way I want the character to develop. I want to portray her as a strong woman. And I was like, come on, you're not getting it. This is not how the women in this culture are meant to be. But then I saw that, we have reached in the 21st century, this state, because there were women like Yasira who are courageous enough to break the shackles, the stereotypes of society. So I understood your point where you were going with this, and I agreed. And I thought, yes, that this is what we need to do. We cannot just follow what everybody else is doing. We need to carve our own path. So I think that was what, these are the three things I would always recommend to everybody, whoever wants to collaborate: be honest, be communicative, and be open-minded.
I really thank you for that, because in fact, that is what I found with you, is that when I did point out something and suggest something, you didn't immediately come back to me and say, no, can't do that, don't like it. You'd come back after a while and you'd say, oh, I've thought about this now, and yes, okay, we'll go this way or that way. And I found that there were times when my heart was in my throat, to be honest, and I would think, oh, Hemali, we're finished, we'll never be friends again. And then you would come back so graciously and say, oh no, I've considered what you've said and it makes a lot of sense. And that made me relax, and I thought, oh, thank goodness for that. I think we can keep this project going. It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So where do you see the trader going now, Hemali?
We are writing part 2, Suraya. As we know, we have a publishing contract. So hopefully the publisher will want to publish the same story. So we have to carry this forward to part 2. I'm sure I know you have already started in thinking about part 2 and you have already have a lot of ideas. So let's work on that. And I really think that we have something really good. You know, the base, the foundation is really good and we can build a fantastic story on that. So I'm really looking forward to working, and because the experience of working with you was so good, I now I'm really looking forward to. Initially there were those jitters, you know, that whether we'll be able to get this through, but now I know that definitely we can build up something really nice with what we have.
Oh, great. Okay, well, it's your turn now, Hemali. You can put me
Yes,
in.
Suraya, my question was something on the similar lines. What I wanted to ask you is that you are such a published author. You have you've written so many books. You have contributed so many chapters. You're founder of Storymen, Style Fit. You know so many authors. So what made you go into a collaboration with somebody like me who's just starting out? I mean, didn't you have that kind of insecurity that your accomplishments would be downplayed by my not being that experienced?
No, not at all. I could see a thread. I could see, I don't know how to describe it, a gem, if you like, in what you were writing. And I thought that could be developed. And so but I was going with my gut feeling. And I also had started writing The Trader, and I knew that I hadn't nailed it. I gave it to a friend, and a friend said, she gave me some feedback, and I just knew that she was being very, very polite. She wasn't telling me it was awful, but she was just skirting around the edges of that. And I thought, well, I can't do this. I'm so busy with everything else. I'm going to have to try and find a way of doing the story, because I love the story and I want to see it come to life. And so I started to think, well, who could help me do this? And you came to mind, and I'm so glad, because in fact our collaboration has worked and will continue now to work really well. So it was a gut feeling really at the beginning.
Right. And Suraya, would you want to, now that you have worked alone and you have worked with somebody, which style do you prefer? What do you think? What are your takeaways of being a sole writer and being a collaborative writer?
Well, I think that the world is now requiring excellence from writers, and I personally believe that it's a very critical world, that is a reader's world. And I actually really found that I found my strengths as I worked with you, because you filled the gaps, my weaknesses, and we worked together in that way. So it was very useful. So I would actually recommend this kind of process, especially for somebody starting out. It's also not so lonely. Being a sole writer on your own day in, day out can get to be quite lonely, and doubt can get in the way, and your thinking can kind of get out of control. And having somebody there working and giving some structure to the work as you go along was actually, I found, a very helpful process. So I would recommend personally this kind of process. I wouldn't mind doing another single author novel, but by golly, with life being so busy right now, I don't have time, and also I don't have the mental space. So having you and us working together has helped me to achieve a dream, really, to write a novel that I'm proud of, and I believe we will do that, and also set up my business. So I'm able to do both, and I'm working with writers, and yeah, I'm achieving all my dreams. It's kind of very cool.
Yes, I think the same way. I think because it's a lot of you have that mental support that there is somebody else who will, if you are falling short, there is somebody who will fill in for you. So I think that gives you a lot of assurance, and you know that if you are not thinking properly or you're not going the right way, there is somebody to correct you. So that kind of feeling is really good. So even I really enjoyed. I think not a collaborative story is any, I would always prefer working with somebody rather than being on my own.